the south side of Chicago. I live in the area. If I call the police, they may take 40 to 50 minutes to come there if they come at all.
So Trump has declared war on Chicago using an AI meme of him in a Kid Rock hat, flanked by helicopters, burning the city down. You can't make this up. Although U.S. law prevents the use of the army against Americans, less Congress supports it, which I don't remember hearing about no votes. This shows you that the United States will wage war against its citizens in the name of white supremacy. Because U.S. law is malleable, it's subject to change. The overriding, unquestionable law of the United States is white supremacy. All things are possible in furtherance of racism. And it's no coincidence that Chicago is a majority black and Latino city. But hey, if this is what it takes for solidarity, for people to realize that all of our liberation struggles are connected, so be it. There's one thing that supersedes all the segregation of Chicago is that we love our fucking city. And we can't stand Trump ass. Try to tell you niggas that shit ain't sweet. See what happens when you're getting blown up by a Malort bottle.
When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would you use the Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Well, you're hearing a lot of pushback, Chris, a lot of fear and even some anger. If you talk about what we just saw here, it was another, you mentioned, third day of protests against the threat of sending more ICE agents or more federal agents for that increased immigration operations here in Chicago and the threat of National Guard. But you're also hearing that pushback from Chicago's political leaders. Mayor Brandon Johnson saying the meme that you were just talking about was beneath the dignity of the president. You had J.B. Pritzker, the governor, saying that this is something that should be taken seriously, saying that the president is threatening war on a major American city. And at issue here, Chris, is not just the opposition to those increased ICE operations that are likely to come, that the governor has been warning that he's hearing is going to happen, is imminent here in Chicago, but it's also the threat that you're hearing of the.
So we got to talk about Chicago. It's a liberal city facing an immigration and crime crackdown. And let's be honest, that's basically the same thing at this point, because President Trump wants to clean up Chicago the same way he cleaned up Washington, D.C. as we know it. And the Democrats, they're obviously playing checkers while President Trump is playing chess. Once again, Trump has maneuvered the Democrats into taking wildly unpopular positions. They're trying to be soft on crime, pretending it's non-existent. And that's the Democrat playbook. Deny the reality that crime is rampant in these liberal cities while Trump acknowledges it and wants to be tough. President Trump is now targeting Chicago for an immigration crackdown, and we'll see if the National Guard gets sent in for an expanded crime crackdown. But here's where it gets crazy, because there are some people in Chicago, as you heard in the first clip, specifically the thugs and the criminals, who have apparently voiced their opinions about the National Guard coming to town. The gangbangers in Chicago are saying they're not afraid. In fact, they're warning the National Guard not to come. And they're sending a warning saying, don't come, because they actually believe they can take on the National Guard. Sounds crazy, right? And they think the Guard should be afraid of them, not the other way around. At least that's the message coming from the people on the internet claiming to speak from the Chicago's gang members feel. You heard that right. They're threatening the U.S. military. So this all kicked off with the Department of Homeland Security announcing Operation Midway Blitz on September 8th, which was yesterday. And the mission is to arrest criminal illegal aliens who, according to the administration, have flooded Illinois because of its sanctuary city policies. And we all know what that means. Local cops are told not to cooperate with federal immigration agents, and the White House sees it as a green light for criminals. And to drive the point, Department of Homeland Security dedicated the operation to the memory of Katie Abraham, a 20-year-old woman killed this year by an undocumented immigrant in a drunk driving incident. And the message is clear. If Chicago's leaders won't protect you, the feds will. And of course, President Trump takes it even further, because he called the city a hellhole, which is true, because for years, and now he's ready to act. Chicago's been a hellhole for years. And he told reporters, we're not going to war, as you heard in the clip, as he checked the reporter. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. But the threat is there. And he's already signaled his willingness to send in the National Guard using what happened in Los Angeles as a playbook because that's his trump card. Sending the military to police American streets is a massive move, and the laws like the Pose Commodities Act are supposed to prevent it. But the Trump administration has shown it's willing to push these legal limits for the best interest of the American people in Chicago and citizens, because obviously we know that Mayor Brandon Johnson, who have gave millions of dollars to illegal immigrants and has put taxpayers that are legal individuals, obviously American taxpayers, American citizens, legal migrants in Chicago up against the wall because they have to pay um they have to pay in turn for all that money that Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson has spent on those illegal immigrants when he did. So Governor J.B. Pritzker is warning this might be the plan. ICE goes in, things get chaotic, and Trump uses the chaos as an excuse to send in the Trumps. And the reaction from Chicago's Democrats was exactly what you expect. Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor J.B. Pritzker came out swinging, claiming they received no notice about the operation, calling it political theater. Pritzker even called Trump a wannabe dictator who is threatening to go to war with an American city. And they're trying to argue that crime is actually going down, but they're denying reality. Meanwhile, they're doubling down on the sanctuary policies that created this problem in the first place. And for 40 years, Chicago has had rules stopping local police from helping ICE. And Mayor Johnson just signed an executive order reinforcing that non-cooperation. And the biggest red line for them is the National Guard, because Governor Pritzker has promised to sue the administration immediately if Trump sends in troops, with the state's attorney general claiming a legal justification doesn't exist. And they're building a legal and political shield, refusing to cooperate and getting ready for a fight, which I don't know why, because they know like Trump is like 52-0 when it comes to these legal battles, even when it goes to the lower court up to the higher court. And however, I'm going to show you guys coming up how the plan in which the Democrats know, or the hypocrites, that dumb protesting and acting out and acting all willy-nilly will definitely justify why the National Guard need to come in, because people don't know how to act. And most people that have no control and no common sense whatsoever, or wasn't born with common sense, obviously they act violent when they don't get their way and they have tantrums, right? Just like a child, but a child that takes it to the extreme to the point where it's heartless and they're just a young adult, or an adult, I should say, not young adult, an adult with a child membrane that's still acting outwardly, but so cold that they don't even care about taking a human life. So while the politicians are posturing, what's happened on the streets? Well, if you listen to some of these alleged Chicago gang members, they like it be crime infested. They like killing each other. Who cares, right? They hate Trump more than they love their city. They hate Trump more than they love their neighbor. They hate Trump more than they love America. And that's the takeaway from these online warnings to National Guards. To the National Guard. It's just nonsense. The idea of Chicago gangs taking on the U.S. military is silly, and if it happened, we all know how that would end. But don't take my word for it. Check out this next clip.
Those of y'all in Chicago and other cities that are telling Trump not to send a National Guard there because the YNs are going to scare away the U.S. military, y'all are out of y'all minds. I don't think y'all understand we have the strongest military in the world. The YNs and gangs in your city have nothing on the U.S. military. I just seen a post dude was like, yeah, don't come to Chicago. Y'all don't understand how dangerous it is. This ain't D.C. Clearly, you never been to D.C. I don't know why y'all think D.C. is sweet, and y'all see how they cleaned it up quickly. They'll do the same with Chicago. Did you see the Venezuelans that tried to smuggle some drugs in here on the boat a couple days ago? And they got blown up? What you think is going to happen on American soil? And go ahead and think you're going to attack one of these National Guardsmen. Go ahead, see what happens. If you survive, that's a big if, you'll never see the light of day again. And keep the threats up. I don't know why y'all think that's going to make Trump be like, oh yeah, the YNs of Chicago said don't show up. So yeah, we're not going to go there. See what happens. I hope this happens.
Now, Trump might not drop the Epstein list, but one thing he will drop is a drone strike on any block in Chicago. I'm sitting here seeing folks on here acting like they really about to go to war with the Department of War. Bro, is y'all folks crazy, bro? Is y'all forgetting they on a 3-0 sweep right now? They done took out Iran, Los Angeles, and DC in the last 3 months. They just been in the last 3 months, bro. Trump is literally posting the kill cams from taking out cartel ships on True Social right now. Dude, let me tell y'all exactly how this gonna go, right? The minute one of them guys in our military get hurt, the minute y'all do anything to any one of them, y'all just gonna be sitting there and all of a sudden a lit light gonna come out the sky. Everybody blown up, disintegrated. I'm telling y'all, bro. Y'all just gonna be evaporated to the abyss. And then Trump gonna post the kill cam on X tonight, bro. And we gonna be watching it like, dang, bro. Them boys just, why they thought they were so tough. I get it. Y'all a dangerous city. Probably the most dangerous city in America. Bro, these are the most dangerous men in the world. Like, I don't know if y'all forget, we are the 2-time World War champs. And we ain't did nothing but got stronger every year since. And y'all think y'all stand a chance because y'all got switches? You ever seen a switch on the back of a damn truck? On the back of a gun? On the back of a truck? You ain't never seen that, huh? That one. You ever seen a drone with switches? Well, y'all better get ready, man. May the best of luck be with y'all, bro. Because y'all gonna need all the luck y'all can get messing with them boys. I'm just telling y'all that right now.
I know what's so funny to me is the fact that we got people on TikTok and the people of Chicago saying that they're not scared of the National Guard. Which, okay, you may not be scared of the National Guard or whatever the case may be. But I'm gonna tell y'all something. The National Guard definitely ain't scared of y'all, and the National Guard definitely don't mind bringing their ass to Chicago and shutting that whole city down. And the only reason these people saying this is because Trump said that they're going to find out what he did with DC and they're going to do the same thing in Chicago. And I guess the people of Chicago feeling some type of way. The dude's talking about some, oh, we got switches, we ain't scared of the National Guard, we got all this, we got all that. As if this not the U.S. military that y'all talking about. I guarantee you, them folks start bringing those tanks and bringing those grenade launchers to the streets. There is absolutely nothing that y'all people can do to the National Guard once they get to Chicago. I'm going to tell you that now. These are trained professionals that we're talking about here. These people specialize in that type of activity in the active war each and every day. And you think they finna be scared or finna be affected by coming into Chicago and shutting that city down? Absolutely not. These people are trained to neutralize the target. Literally. And we got the people of Chicago thinking because they got a couple Glocks and a couple switches or whatnot, and maybe a few ARs or whatnot, they thinking that they can take on the world. Man, y'all people about to fuck around and find out.
This pushback is against common sense. And if you're in the country legally, federal forces at events should make you feel safer. But apparently these people don't care about safety. They want to live in crime-ridden holes. What these governors should be doing is working with the president in a partnership to crack down on crime in a real way and with more law enforcement. But Trump hatred drives the Democratic Party and has driven them into some really weird places. Even some of the citizens. Check it out.
Trump, do not send the National Guard to Chicago, gang. Do not, I repeat, do not do it. We are a different fucking breed out here. We are not Los Angeles. We are not Washington, D.C. This is Chicago. Them niggas go fight back. I'm telling you, them niggas go fight back, gang. Whatever. I don't give a fuck what you talking about. Them young niggas got switches, gang. They not going for that shit, bro. I know a bunch of y'all finna say, oh, it's the National Guard. They can't do anything about it. They must go in Chicago. Do y'all know that it's more bad people than good people, bro? There are over 100,000 gangs in Chicago by the city by itself.
Man, Trump talking about something. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. You about to find out why it's called Direct. The fuck? Goofy ass.
JB said Tangerine better find somebody he could actually play with. But coming to Chicago ain't the move. Matter of fact, he said, I double dog dare you to touch one of my people, touch one of my kids. Touch one of my kids, see what's gonna happen. I'm coming after you with everything I got.
This is just plain ignorance. Obviously, this says a whole lot in regards of education and how these individuals definitely are exposing their family backgrounds and how they were raised due to ignorance, due to sitting here thinking that safety doesn't matter. And 9 times out of 10, these individuals and individuals of my color and my melanin, the ones that are resistant that you heard in these videos, are because they know somebody who is obviously doing something criminal that they shouldn't be doing. Because at the end of the day, most of these individuals know in their neighborhood who doing the crime, when they doing it, how they doing it. what set they on, and what type of criminal activity they're doing. And the reality is they'll rather defend and enable their loved one by continuing to do criminal activity. So they'd rather not have the National Guard there because it's going to expose. And if, say, for example, you are a drug dealer, let's just look at it from a common sense standpoint. Someone that's a drug dealer obviously gains monetary gain by killing individuals by selling them poison and then driving their addiction like a drug addict, unfortunately. And the thing is, if you see the National Guard walking around in the military and the streets being cleaned up, that mean that their money is going to go to dry, because that means the streets are going to be cleaned up where there's going to be nobody on the corners. There's going to be nobody selling. It's going to be safe. Everybody's going to be able to walk. You ain't going to have to worry about no drug wars of individuals fighting over money, power, and greed while killing the citizens at the same time, selling poison for their own self-greed. And that's the real problem. But also, I want you guys to see the clash, and the clash that we're seeing, because on one side you have Trump's vision, and then with Operation Midway Blitz, and then you have the governor and the mayor who have dared him to do it. Check it out.
Moments ago, the Department of Homeland Security announcing Operation Midway Blitz. They say it's in honor of a suburban Chicago girl killed earlier this year in a car crash. That driver was in the country illegally.
No one should have to do and go through what we're going through right now. And it could have been avoided. Katie was killed by someone who really could have been vetted and not been in this country, and she would be here with us today.
Thousands of people taking to the streets in downtown Chicago over the weekend to protest these expanded plans, with more protests expected. News Nation's Nancy Liu is live in Chicago. Nancy, where faith leaders just wrapped up a rally. What did they say?
Well, Nicole, we heard faith leaders denouncing the immigration crackdown and what seems to be the imminent deployment of federal troops. But you've heard President Trump say that it's not a case of war against Chicago, but a case of common sense in dealing with crime. Now, a big part of the federal strategy is a ramp up in ICE operations all over the country, especially in sanctuary cities. Here in Chicago, daily detainment by federal agents has meant a steady stream of detainees brought to a suburban ICE facility for processing. According to a source, a known pedophile among the weekend arrests. The agency's just released worst of the week list includes 2 men recently detained in Chicago, a 63-year-old convicted murderer from Cuba, and a 42-year-old Dominican man with multiple convictions, including assault, theft, and illegal reentry. Crime does remain a very real issue in Chicago. Robbers just hit a Rolex store right on the famed Magnificent Mile, with thieves smashing the windows, grabbing nearly $200,000 in watches, all in broad daylight. Police.
And you mean to tell me that crime isn't running rampant? They're stealing Rolexes. Look, man, it's just simple. I understand. I understand, obviously, the common sense, because I was born with common sense, but I don't understand these individuals. To me, it seemed like most of them individuals that are protesting obviously are getting paid, because this is common sense. This is obvious. I'm a parent, right? If you have a child, let's just break it down from a basic C student perspective. I have a child. So if I don't raise my child with structure, we do this, we do this, we do that, we get up, we do this, we do this, we eat, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, if I don't have no structure for him to look forward to have some direction and know the direction he going in, to be disciplined, to actually result into being a self-sustainable young man, to do what he need to do even when he don't feel like it, and not to be emotionally attached to the results, but but to be committed to the process and not emotionally attached to the results. Obviously my child would know where to go and obviously lead with direction, always having better in his mind a habit of routine and knowing what not to do and what to do. What not to do and what he should be doing, what's the right thing to do. But when I raise him with no structure, then he runs rampant and does what he do based off of feelings and impulse, which leads to chaos, let alone destruction. Because once logic go out the mind, you might as well say you are basically feeding your vices, you are feeding your habits, and that can go to the extreme of robbery, that could go to the extreme of violence, that can go to a extreme of doing crimes and criminal activity, because obviously these individuals who have broke into this Rolex store, it hasn't been their first time they have committed a robbery. 9 times out of 10, the robbery started when they were little, when they were young, whoever they are, unfortunately.
Did make 6 arrests, but since Friday, there have been 15 shooting incidents and 5 homicides.
Wow. But the Democrats have said, no, 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 there's no crime. The crime is going down. We are doing great. Just send us the money. They want more money for these youth intervention programs to stop the crime. But at the end of the day, this is the thing. When bullets start flying, it doesn't matter what youth criminal intervention leader you have in place, it's not going to stop them from dying. Why would you not want enforcement on the streets to then make sure they enforce safety with law and order so that it's structured, so then the programs can actually be able to get out and touch more ground and talk to young folks? And then that's when the programs can actually thrive. But if there's chaos all around the program, how much exposure you think the road program is going to have? That means the program really has no benefit. It's just a waste of money and not a return on investment, because you can't even have the full efficient effect of really using the program to really advocate youth crime intervention, or have services or programs that stop crime and put young individuals and going direct them into the right direction, who may not have direction in their household. But it does no justice when crime is all around them. They're more exposed and more accustomed to what they're going to, and seeing bullets flying as normal when it's really not normal, and it becomes their normalcy. So it doesn't matter what that crime intervention program tells them, but they know realistically, this is what I'm seeing, bullets flying all around me. But like I said, you have one side, Trump's vision of a strong government that will go into cities and clean them up on the behalf of being American first and doing what's best for the American cities so they can enjoy the luxury of their cities and actually be safe and actually walk out with family members and actually not have to worry about loved ones being killed every single day. And then on the other, you have local leaders talking about constitutional limits while their cities crumble, right? So you have Operation Midway Blitz has started, and ICE is making arrests. Depending on how the lunatics in Chicago handle ICE doing their jobs, we'll see if the National Guard actually comes in. Check you the next one, family. If you guys got some value from this video, give this video a big thumbs up. And I'll leave you with this question. What do you think happens if Trump calls their bluff and sends in the troops? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. On that note, family, peace.